get my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great.
Hello and welcome back to Beyond Your Wildest Genes podcast. My name is Dr. Noah DeCoyer and I'm your co-host. Today I'm super excited to have Dr. Dr. Berzin as our guest. Dr. Berzin is a functional medicine physician and the founder of Parsley Health. Her mission is to make functional medicine accessible and data-driven so that more people can access this holistic root cause approach to health. A Summa Cum Laude graduate of the University of Pennsylvania, Robin went to medical school at Columbia University, where she co-founded the physician communication app Cureatr and later trained in internal medicine at Mount Sinai Hospital. She is also a certified yoga instructor and a meditation teacher and has formerly studied Ayurveda. Robin writes for a number of leading wellness sites and speaks regularly for organizations including the Clinton Foundation, Health 2.0 Summit, and the Functional Forum on how we can reinvent healthcare. Dr. Berzin, I'm thrilled you're on the podcast today. About 3 months ago, I was in the city at Sakara Lounge and I heard you speak at a microbiome forum with Dr. Kelman and Dr. Ram, and I knew I had to have you on. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
That's great. Now, first question always in our podcast is a little bit of backstory. Dr. Berzin, what's your journey? You're traditionally trained, yet you've practiced functional medicine. How did this all occur?
Well, my story is really unique in that, unlike a lot of people, I actually went to medical school because I wanted to practice functional medicine. That was my goal. Right after college, I was working as a paralegal at the United States Attorney's Office, and I can't say I loved it, and I got really into yoga. And for me, yoga was a practice that made me rethink my entire relationship between my mind and my body. And it kind of set off some light bulbs for me. And I had studied a bit of public health in college back at UPenn and had gotten interested in these large questions of public health, but never thought I'd be a doctor. But through yoga, I really decided to reframe my entire path. And I decided I wanted to go to medical school because I wanted to have the strongest clinical and scientific foundation I could possibly have to do work in the world. I didn't want to not there's anything bad about being a yoga teacher, but for me, I really wanted additional medical training, but I also wanted to take a holistic bent to my practice. And so that's really what drove me. And I know that makes me an oddball for functional medicine because a lot of doctors I find tend to be regular doctors, for a long time. And then they sort of flip, the light bulb goes on later in their career. But for me, it was, the thing that kept me going through medical school.
Yes, that is definitely different than most. I got to tell you, about 3 months ago, I joined a yoga studio, and it's the single best thing I've done for myself this entire year.
Wow, that's awesome. Do you like it?
I absolutely love it. I have to fitting in 3 classes a week is a challenge, but I'm telling you, I'm just happy to hear that it made a huge difference in your life because it's definitely the best thing I've done for my life this year.
Well, it's made a huge difference in my life too, and it's still my favorite thing, I'll be honest with you.
All right. Now, I've heard you use terminology like automatic body. So when I say automatic body, what does that mean to you?
Well, it means that our bodies are really intelligent, and there's a lot of stuff happening in there all day that you don't have to control. It happens automatically. There's so much that we don't have to think about and yet is so vital. Our breathing, our heart rate, our digestion, our sweat, our detoxification, the way we think. And we spend so much energy trying to control the way that our bodies work, control our weight, control our blood pressure, control our energy. And what we're not doing and what most people aren't doing is getting out of the way. Most people are getting in the way. And if they get out of the way, the automatic parts of the body can turn on and take over and do what they were naturally supposed to do. Something that functional medicine shares with the field of naturopathy, in philosophy at least, although they are, different, is that the body knows how to heal itself if we get out of the way. And so my thinking around the automatic body is really around how do we harness that power, that innate intelligence in our organism and make it work for us in today's world of 2016.
Now, Dr. Berzin, I'm traditionally trained as a a wellness, family-oriented chiropractor, and right now you're speaking chiropractic philosophy 101 with
Totally. Yeah.
with innate intelligence, and I'm stoked. And we were taught, and I was taught, and it's the way I practice today. You remove the barriers to healing, and the body does the rest.
Exactly. So we have so many incredible automatic processes, and a lot of them are driven by another word, which is similar to automatic, but it's a little different. It's called autonomic. And the autonomic nervous system is a side of our nervous system that's involuntary. It's a side we don't control. When you reach out to pick up that cup of coffee or you get on the treadmill, those are voluntary parts of your nervous system working. Your brain says, I want to pick up that coffee, and your arm reaches out and does it. But yet there's so much happening, like your digestion and the communication between the bacteria in your gut and your digestive tract and your brain, that's happening under the surface all day long. And I just find that personally fascinating. And what I found is that through changing my diet, through stress reduction, through yoga, through exercise, through being in nature, some of these practices that none of us, today, including myself, do enough of, because I'm a worker, so I'm always working, and I kind of shaft these things more than I should too. I'm, definitely not perfect here, but when I do those things, I turn on that side of my nervous system, and then that side of my nervous system works for me, and my body heals. And so I think that principle is really interesting, and the science behind it is really interesting. And so it's something that really pervades the way that I think about helping both men and women help heal, whether they're dealing with an autoimmune disorder, a digestive disorder, heart disease, weight gain, anxiety, insomnia. No matter what it is, this principle can be applied.
Can you dive a little bit deeper into for our audience on the autonomic nervous system? There's sympathetic, flight or fight, and the parasympathetic, rest and repair.
Sure. So the autonomic nervous system is different than the somatic nervous system, which is that skeletal muscle, reach for your coffee, get on the treadmill side. The autonomic side is the bigger category, the umbrella. And then under that, you've got the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. The sympathetic is your classic fight or flight. It's what makes you gear up and run from a lion. The problem is that side of our nervous system is turned on all the time these days. I live in New York City, which is where I practice, although Parsley Health, our center in New York, now we have a center in Los Angeles, and we also are opening a center shortly in San Francisco in November. So we're kind of everywhere now, and we work with people all over the country and even the world via video. So we're growing in that way. But I live in New York, and so a lot of my patients are New Yorkers, and they kind of fit the stereotype. They're always on the go, getting up in the morning, going to that spin class, going to work all day, not getting up for lunch, staring at a computer screen, going out at night, partying too hard, staying up, looking at social media online. And so they're always on, and as a result, their sympathetic nervous system is always on. And then, as a result of that, they are never turning on their parasympathetic nervous system. And that's the side of the autonomic nervous system. And I know these words are a little wonky, but basically means they're always in fight or flight, and they're never in rest, digest, relax, and heal mode. That's your parasympathetic side. And a lot of that is controlled by this super cool set of nerves that come from your brain all the way down, intervening almost every single organ, called your vagus nerves. And the vagus nerves are this winding, wandering nerve, and it's called the wandering nerve in history because it goes to so many places in the body. And the vagus nerve is really is that communication channel of all of those organs that do their job without you thinking about it. Your heart, your digestive tract, your thyroid, all of these glands, all of these cool organs that are doing all this work for you all day. They're kind of talking to your brain, and they've got this going back and forth in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the highway for which is the vagus nerve. And so what's really crazy is that in a lot of cases, have kind of turned off our vagus nerve. I haven't turned it off completely, or we'd be dead. But we, or a lot of things wouldn't work too well, but we've turned it down. It's like we have it on low, low, low volume. And then we have our sympathetic side, our fight or flight, on high, high volume. And that imbalance is really tough because the body then suppresses the immune system, and the body suppresses the digestion, and blood sugar gets off, and heart rate goes up, and heart rate variability, which is a sign of heart health, goes down. And so all of these things that we need begin to really, flip and change. And we then get sick. And so one of the things that I really stress for people is that they need to heal their parasympathetic nervous system.
I'm glad you brought up HRV. HRV is something that we do on every single patient to get a baseline of how their autonomic nervous system is functioning. So I absolutely love what I'm hearing. You mentioned the vagal nerve. Any tips to turn back the vagal nerve on?
So there's some great ways to do it. And one of the simplest ways is a breathing exercise that's so easy. It just makes your exhale has to be longer than your inhale, and it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system and the vagus nerve. So all you do is pick a number, and you could say 3 and 5. So if I said 3 and 5, I'd inhale for a count of 3, even 1, 2, 3, and I'd exhale for a count of 5. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I do that for a couple minutes, don't have to do it for hours, don't need to be in a dark room with candles, can do it sitting at your desk, anywhere you are, in your car. If you inhale for 3 and exhale for 5, and you do that for a couple minutes, you'll be stimulating your parasympathetic nervous system. And so that is one easy way to do it.
Yeah, that is easy, because most people thinking they're going to have to go meditate for an hour or take an hour and a half long yoga class, but a simple breathing technique is very easy.
Exactly.
Now, how about some other ideas and thoughts on how to use this primal nervous system to heal our gut, improve the function of our nervous system, and balance our hormones?
So some of the ways that we need to do this, and some of the ways that I see people getting in the way, first of all, food is a huge one. Food is the #1 medicine, and it's something that we can all easily do. And people say, oh, it's so hard to not eat carbs, and it's so hard to make dinner and not eat, takeout. But what's harder than all of that is being sick and being chronically sick. So I invite everyone to kind of rethink their diet, because most of the foods that are surrounding us today, and this really only happened in the past 50 years, all of these grab and go, easy calories made by somebody else, made with the wrong oils, the bad carbs, preservatives, dyes, chemicals. These are making us sick. They're shifting our microbiome, which is the bacteria in our gut. And when that shifts, those guys are making lots of cool neurotransmitters and little chemicals every day that talk to our brain and talk to our nervous system and keep our nervous system healthy. So one of the #1 ways that you can heal your primal nervous system is to get rid of processed foods, particularly refined carbohydrates and sugar. 80% of the American diet is 4 things: soy, wheat, corn, and rice. And that's really scary. It's really scary. That should be the minimal amount of our diet. That should be 10% of our diet. And yet people are living on foods or fake frankenfoods made of these foods. And as a result, we are all sick. And so one of the #1 things you can do is shift your diet. The next thing is that, you've got to start a regular relaxation practice. So if meditation's too woo-woo for you, no big deal. Do some yoga, go for regular walks, do a breathing practice. Find something that soothes you, that isn't too active. A lot of people say, well, my running 6 miles is my relaxation. And I say, well, that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with running 6 miles, but it's not putting your body in a relaxed state. You're still in sympathetic overdrive. Your body has to be super stressed to run 6 miles because you've got to be go, go, go. Think about it. You're sort of physically, literally running from a lion. So that's all well and good, but when are you having your downtime, your do nothing? And then moving regularly. So I sit at a desk way too many hours of the day. I don't move enough, and it's one of my struggles. And sometimes I have to really force myself, like this morning when I tell myself, you know what? I'm going to the gym and I'm doing the elliptical machine and I'm doing it for 15 minutes and I'm going to listen to my music. I don't need to be there for hours. 15 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm going to do my 15 minutes as hard as I can, because that's going to be the time that I get it in the movement for the day. And what I find is that it comes down to making a deep decision that you want to live differently despite all of these outside factors, because you want health over convenience. And the reality is that if you choose health, your life's going to be way more convenient because you're going to have way more energy, you're going to feel better, you're going to live longer, you're going to be in more control, and you're going to be able to do all the things you want to do. as opposed to being saddled with fatigue and autoimmune disease and digestive problems and pain the way so many people are.
I couldn't agree more. I love health over convenience. It's so true that we live in a grab and go society, and it's destroying our health.
Yeah, exactly. It is, you know what? We can be grab and go about certain things. Like at Parsley, we have unlimited online messaging, and you do all your scheduling online, and you video all about convenience. That is like number one. Like make it easy on yourself. Make medicine easy on yourself. It's one of our big mottos at Parsley. Right now, just going to your doctor is complete pain. It takes forever. You got to do the fax machine and the voicemail and the landline and the waiting in the waiting room. That's ugly. We've done away with all of that at Parsley. I mean, that stuff is the waste of time. But what's not a waste of time is preparing your own food, getting outside, moving, getting sun. And so the way that we restore our automatic bodies are moving, sweating through nature, eating real food, making your own food as much as possible, as opposed to relying on stuff that other big companies have made for you. Because guess what? They have their convenience and their bottom line at heart at the end of the day, no matter what they say. They don't have your health in mind.
Agree. Now, you mentioned it. How about getting into a little nitty-gritty about Parsley Health?
Yeah. So Parsley is my dream practice. It's medicine the way it should be. And I started it in February 2015, just as a small medical practice with me, 2 health coaches, and an office manager. We're the first ever medical practice in WeWork, which if you're not in New York or LA, WeWork is this co-working space that's really beautiful, that's kind of taken off. And they don't allow medicine, but they allow us. And it looks and feels nothing like a doctor's office. And the other thing is, we really try to make everything super convenient using technology. So we don't have a phone number. A lot of people say, well, why can't I call you? And I say, well, would you rather leave a voicemail for my staff and have me call you back tomorrow like a regular doctor would? Or would you rather write to me and I'll write you back in 20 minutes? And then people say, oh, well, I'd rather write you an email online in a secure way and get a response in 20 minutes. And I say, well, then we don't have a phone number. So it's really about rethinking the entire model of medicine, and we can do that in functional medicine because we're outside of the insurance system, and so I'm not waiting for the big insurance companies to tell me what I can and what I can't do, because that's been a problem. That's really stifled innovation in healthcare in my view, not on purpose, but that's sort of what's happened. And then on top of that, most functional medicine doctors are like $1,000 an hour. And what I saw is that everybody really practicing functional medicine and getting to access to the kind of doctor that I am, one who focuses on natural options, but you know what? We still prescribe drugs. If you have a sinus infection, I'm going to give you an antibiotic. I'm not going to Reiki that away. And we refer to specialists, and we do really cool testing regular doctors don't do. Testing like looking at your microbiome, your genetics, your hormones, things that regular doctors just totally don't even know about yet. They will, but it's going to take them a while. And so we do all of that, but we do it for $149 a month fee. That's all inclusive of working with a doctor and a health coach and a team and unlimited messaging. And so to me, it was all about accessibility. And so we made it affordable, we made it accessible, we made it beautiful, we made it cool, and it's been around now for a year and a half. And now we have a center in Los Angeles that just opened. That's awesome. Over on the west side, and our medical director out there is an incredible, experienced functional medicine doctor. We have 3 functional medicine doctors working with us in New York. We all work together. We're all a team with incredible health coaches who are there to support people. We include unlimited health coaching in the membership because I believe coaching is part of the medicine. If I give you a fancy plan and you go home and don't do it, well, then it's not such a great plan, is it? So health coaching is really critical to actually making changes because it's all about behavior change. And then we're opening our San Francisco center in November. They're thereabouts. So stay tuned, West Coast, Bay Area folks, for that. And then we have people all over the country and now all over the world. And this, whenever this happens, my heart bursts. I'm so blown away. But we have people coming from England and Italy and Israel, and I have a patient in Uruguay who flew here to see us, or Florida or Texas even, and I can't even believe that because their flight costs like half of what our annual membership does. But They can see us in person the first time. So wherever you are in the country, you can see us in person the first time, and then you can work with us virtually after that. So it's really game changing, and it's been a wild ride so far.
So do you use things like Skype to eliminate some of or to add some personal feel to it?
We use a video platform. It's not Skype. It's a secure version of Skype, but we do video. Yeah.
Now, since James Maskell introduced us, what is your involvement with the evolution of medicine and the Functional Forum?
So James is a friend. I'm not directly involved with the Functional Forum, but only that in that I am a regular speaker. And James, I love what he's done to bring the community of functional providers together. I think it's awesome.
I can see now why James loves what you're doing, because that's what he did.
Exactly. Yeah, he really really got it, and we're so pleased that he has been so successful, because it's a space that has been really fragmented.
Long-term vision for Parsley Health.
We completely become the new primary care for this generation. We are the standard of primary care, and we disrupt it. For most young people, they don't need a primary care doctor if they have us. We don't visit you in the hospital, but that also ended 10 years ago with the advent of hospitalist medicine. So people who think that their primary care doctors do that, that's an old, outdated, thought about primary care. That doesn't actually exist anymore anyway. We're not a 24-hour service, so if it can't wait until morning or Monday morning, then it's an emergency, and then you need to go to urgent care or the ER anyway. Calling some guy up at 3 a.m. Is not really working anymore. It's not that useful. And otherwise, you have this ongoing long-term easy access relationship with people who aren't just people you see for 10 minutes once a year for a quick exam and a prescription and a referral to somebody else because they don't want to actually deal with your problem or don't have the skills to. They're working with you, all year long and on an annual basis. We know your whole life story. And with that, we can take a completely different approach to your care. And so even if, we have healthy people who come who are say, we just want this to be our doctor. We're not sick, but, this is the access we want. We want this kind of testing. We want this kind of communication. It's modern. It's cool. And we can't get this. And, health insurance doesn't pay for this right now. It should, and it will, but it doesn't. So we're willing to spend a little bit of money out of pocket every month to give us access to something way better. It's a better doctor. And I just think it's what everybody should have. I don't think that it's what only, the very wealthy should have.
And if somebody's interested, how do they find Parsley Health?
Easy peasy. You can go to Parsley, like the herb, parsleyhealth.com, and you can schedule a free 15-minute consultation call. That's with one of our team members, usually one of our health coaches who work side by side with their doctors every day, or one of our other team. And you can learn everything about our practice. We also have all of our details online too, what's included, what's not. And once you sign up and buy a membership, then you'll get an email confirming your membership and giving you instructions for scheduling your first visit. So it's all pretty seamless. And you can also follow us on social. We're Parsley Health on Instagram and on Facebook, and we're Parsley_Health on Twitter, and we're Parsley Life on Snapchat. So if you're any of those places listening to us, I'm not as good about snapping as I should be, but we're around and we're very accessible.
Snapchat's my next endeavor. Haven't gotten there yet.
You'll get there. You'll get there. Don't worry.
Any last words for us?
Well, just that if you're thinking about how you're feeling right now and you're feeling tired or you're feeling bloated or you've got a chronic problem and you just don't think you could go talk to your doctor about it, your hormones are off, you can't get pregnant, you've got reflux, you're anxious, you can't sleep, don't live with these things. You have the power to restore your body to health, and you can't do that alone. You need guidance. I can't be my own doctor, so we all need help. We all need guidance. We all need expertise that if it's not your day job to be a functional medicine doctor, then don't try to be your own functional medicine doctor. Stick to your day job and find someone like us to work with to help you, because you can thrive. And that is the message that I have for everyone listening.
Thank you, thank you. My name is Dr. Noah DeCoyer, your co-host, and you are listening to the Beyond Your Wildest Dreams podcast. If you like what you've heard today, please share this with your friends and encourage them to subscribe on iTunes. Leaving a review on iTunes would be the icing on the cake. Thank you. A link to our weekly email can be found on iTunes in our show notes. Thank you, and as my oldest son Hayden says, be awesome and never unawesome.